Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You are here on the home of the slightly above average ship review. Got one of two reviews here of the Royal Navy Tier 7 Premium Battleship Monarch in the game. I didn't mention this in the Vanguard video, but if the Vanguard is the last battleship ever built, why isn't it the Legendary Tier Battleship? Or the Tier 8 Battleship? Anyway, I digress. Here's a look at the team's estuary domination match. We are top tier. In the Monarch, really quickly talking about the Monarch's history, allegedly a preliminary version of the King George class ships armed with 381mm main battery. That's per wargaming. So a tier 6 ship with tier 7 guns, I guess you could say. Damage record on WoW's builds, 321,839. No idea how that happened. Base XP record, 4341. Sigma 1.8, so not especially accurate. Fires per minute, 2.35. Arming threshold, 63 millimeters for the armor-piercing shells. Overmatch, 27 millimeters for this ship. All right, we're moving out. We see a Bismarck and a Flandre. We shot at the Bismarck and set a couple of fires there. As you can see, he did damage con, probably because the next ship also set him on fire. Or maybe he had fight fire with fire going on. It went out automatically. I declined to shoot at the Flandre initially because, in my opinion, German ships are more prone to set on fire. There is another fire, and that one is going to burn for a little while. And we come into contact with this rock, shielding myself from that fire from the port side of the ship. So I've got our front guns at the Bismarck, and then out there is the Flandre. But we're angled to the point where our rear turret is not yet on target. So the reason why I am playing this build is a brawling build. I played a bunch of games with Cunningham as the commander, and I said, well, let me see, as we eat a torpedo, what I can do with the survivability commander, Charles Madden. And there's the first of many requests from Azur Lane, New Jersey, for me to quote-unquote get back. Azur Lane, New Jersey has no idea what I am doing. He does not understand the range limitations of my build. He is going to continue to beg me to get back, because for him in his build, he should be getting back. But for me in my build, it behooves me to get into a scenario that I referred to in the King George video as in the pocket. That is between 10 to 15 kilometers away from the enemy ships, in order to A, prevent receiving plunging fire, and B, stay within the range of my main battery. The thing we'll talk about in the port that makes the Monarch particularly well suited to this kind of thing is that it has a very deep below water citadel, and it's not very accurate either, so you are going to want to get closer in order to negate the effects of that 1.8 Sigma. Now I know what you're thinking, well, wouldn't the accuracy commander negate the effects of the 1.8 Sigma? Yes. But then it leaves you open to plunging fire, and if you're up close, you're not going to be getting plunging fire, therefore maximizing your citadel. At least that's how I interpret the armor viewer. Whether that's actually true or not, I'm sure someone will be along any minute now to tell you how wrong I am. So please comment immediately. All right, so everybody's running away. The destroyer got killed over here. The other destroyer on the other side of the map for the red team got killed over there. And this is going to show you how without those destroyers, the enemy battleships can push up with impunity. And so we're pushing into the Alpha Cap while setting the Bismarck on fire again. And we've got plenty of health. We got 3 greater heals in our pocket. We are in the process of capping out. Pardon me, not the Bismarck, the Flandre. We bow tank a salvo there, but do take a little bit of damage. And we will shoot some HE toward the Flandre. But he gets taken out by Azur Lane, New Jersey. But as a consolation, we get an assisted base cap. All right, so immediately I know there's a Bismarck behind the island over here. I'm going to turn hard to port, and I got my guns oriented that way already. Got the high explosive loaded. Another thing to know about this ship, you don't have a great fire chance relative to other Royal Navy battleships. So this ship, I wouldn't necessarily call it a fire spammer like a lot of the other ones. And so, again, normally this is a ship that I would think I would want to use my range commander on, but I found that I think I was a lot more effective using the survivability commander, Charles Madden. All right, here moving in on a Baltimore. We're going to shoot some HE his way, and then we're going to switch to armor piercing. You can see we did a ton of splash damage there, 4 penetrations, and we set him on fire, and it looks like he already put that out. Maybe I shouldn't have switched shells, but I did that because I knew the Bismarck was going to be shortly behind him. We're going to shoot again, aiming up towards the superstructure. There's the second request to get back from Azur, New Jersey, who again just can't comprehend what I'm doing here because he paid for his ship and, you know, maybe he's not a very experienced player. And if he is a very experienced player, it's not his business what I am doing. All right, up into the superstructure of the Bismarck with a high explosive. That doesn't really do anything there, which is very, very painful to me. But as you can see, even though he is showering me with secondary fire, it's all recoverable damage. And with these greater heals, I can do that. There's request number 3. And there we set another fire on the Bismarck. Now we're on fire twice. We're going to damage con. We're going to engage our second greater heal. And there is the Baltimore. And it's a good thing I switched to armor piercing. So again, this is all advantageous to me simply because of the placement of my very deep below water citadel. We're going to get all 3 guns lined up as the New Jersey begs me again to back up. And we're going to get that citadel hit on the Baltimore and take him out. And finally, I tell Azur, New Jersey, shut up. Because you can't comprehend what I'm doing doesn't mean it's wrong. All right, so we're turning the corner here. I was intending to chase down the Bismarck. But at some point, I'm just like, you know what? If he went too far, I'm not going to chase him. No, I'm not getting back, Azur, New Jersey. I am not. Quit crying. You don't know what I'm doing. So he went too far, and so I'm going to leave him for someone else to take care of. And instead, I'm going to turn my attention to Vittorio Veneto and another ship over here, which may be another Bismarck. And I'm going to show you how survivable this build is. It's a Brandenburg. I'm going to show you how survivable this ship can be with this commander combined with the low water citadel of the Monarch. Now, between the 2 premium Royal Navy battleships at this tier, the Lion and the Monarch, my opinion is that you should play Cunningham and the Lion and focus on your offense. In my opinion, you're concentrating on survivability with the Monarch due to your low water citadel. A little more forgiving, and I would say if you're a newer player or not very experienced, the Monarch is a good choice for you. If you are an experienced player or you think your poop doesn't stink at battleships, then I would recommend the Lion. If the Lion ever comes back, it is a winter event ship, so it may not. And I'm advancing here against the wishes, well, I was advancing briefly, against the wishes of Azur, New Jersey, that I don't really care about. And I'm trying to get in the pocket, like we talked about, between 10 and 15 kilometers away from the enemy in order to minimize the amount of plunging fire, but retain our accuracy. So here we're going to start spamming HE because they're all driving away from me. At Veneto, we set him on fire. Azur, New Jersey, who does not understand what I'm doing, continuing to beg me to get back. All right, got the Brandenburg over here. We're going to switch our focus to the Brandenburg, try to set him on fire, And again, their incoming fire is not doing a lot of damage to me. We not only set Bismarck on fire, but we take out one of his torpedo launchers. Very important. And I'm going to move forward just a little bit, just a titch. And then I'm going to re-engage Veneto. And basically this is what I'm going to do. Depending on positioning and whether I can spot them or not, and what they're doing in the match, I'm just going to alternate between Veneto and Brandenburg for the rest of the time here. And Azur, New Jersey cannot get through his head what I'm doing. He probably doesn't know anything about the Monarch. He doesn't know anything about the armor profile of the Monarch. And if he does, he's being a moron as he continues to beg me to get back, even though he has no idea what I'm doing. I feel very confident here. As you can see, I've got about 17,000 hit points left. I have a greater heal in my back pocket. I am comfortable. I know what I am doing. I am testing this to see if it is a viable playstyle for this ship. We set Brandenburg on fire again. He is still burning. We're well over 100,000 damage. We're going to move up just a little bit here so I can continue to get shots on Brandenburg. Maybe I should have switched armor piercing, but at this point, I'm just trying to keep the good time going. Besides, it is a German ship. They are prone to HE damage, in my opinion. And so I'm just going to keep spamming HE at the Brandenburg, although he finally did put those fires out. Moving forward and bowing in a little bit here, I think it's kind of necessary due to his proximity. We're going to shoot some more HE right there. Not the greatest aim, but we do set him on fire again. Very important there. And he is going to continue to burn. Veneto took out one of my turrets. You know, maybe if Azur, New Jersey had just shot the Veneto and not been asking me to get back the whole time, you know, that wouldn't have ended like that. So yeah, we did die. But we ended up with a pretty good accounting for ourselves in this match, I think. You know, Brandenburg is still burning. We're still taking damage there. There's the high caliber metal. And I'm pretty happy about that. And you know, New Jersey, you can kill pinch that. You know, he would have died if you didn't shoot him. All right, real quick before we get to the end of the match, talk about our stats selection at Tier 7. There are 29 battleships. We chose hit points, firing range, armor piercing DPM, max speed, and sea detectability. Hit points, number 1 is Flandres, 75,400. Last is the Monarch, 53,900. Firing range, AL New Jersey, 18. And the Flandre is... where is the Flandre? I can't even find it. Hello? I'm not looking for the Flandre. All right, 16.7. Sorry about that. For the Monarch. 25th out of 29 ships. Armor piercing DPM number 1, Kansas, 262, 588. Number 2 is the Monarch, 257,040. That was kind of surprising to me. Max speed, Champagne number 1, 34. Monarch towards the bottom, 28. I thought this was supposed to be a fast battleship. Sea detectability, the most detectable ship is Amagi, 15.6. And the least detectable ship is Monarch tied with Roma, 14.5. Anyway, here we are on the victory screen. High caliber metal, 128,930 total damage. 735,370 silver. 4862 ship XP, 12,000 change commander XP. Mine CE at the top of the board. Not shocked by that. We are number 2. High caliber metal, 1 big kill, 2493. Just short of what I would call a good game. And so I would say, yeah, I do think with the limitations of the Monarch, more of which we'll discuss in the port, I do think this is a viable way to play the Monarch. In the pocket, using the survivability commander. And Azur, New Jersey, who kill pinched his way to a 4-kill game, doesn't understand it. That's not my problem. All right, here are the upgrades for the ship. Aiming system mod 1, highly recommended. Damage con mod 2, highly recommended. You got the lowest concealment for a battleship of the tier, so I recommend the concealment system. And main battery mod 3. And you'll see why that works here later on in the port. Loadout, 4 charges of that greater heal, 1,185 hit points restored per second, 17-second duration with our build, and 4 charges of the spotter plane to help out that lackluster Sigma value of 1.8. We were running the Epic Commander XP booster, the Epic Global XP booster, and the Epic Credit booster flag. We've got the Type 9 permanent camouflage fixed, and of course the Friendship Day 21 flag. Stats, 53,900 hit points and a 28% torpedo damage reduction with our build. Not great. Those 3 triple 381mm turrets, 16.7 kilometer firing range. Reload in 20.5 seconds. Turrets turn in 37.5 seconds. HE shell damage, 6,300 max with a 35% fire chance. That's low for a Royal Navy battleship. Armor piercing shells, 11,900 max damage. You've got 8 twin 134mm secondaries. I believe they're the same as a lot of the other Royal Navy ships added around this tier. 5.2 kilometer range, 6.7 second reload. HE shells do 1,900 max damage with an 8% fire chance. Here's the AA defense. I don't think it's very good. Not very long range. Your secondaries are dual purpose and they do count as AA. They only go out to 4.5 kilometers. Your best AA is the 40mm Mark 8 6x8 arrangement, but only 119 damage per second. That is pitiful. And the range is also pitiful at 2.5 kilometers. So you are vulnerable to carriers in this ship. 28 knots, not very fast, 790 meter turning circle, 21 second abysmal rudder shift time. Concealment 13 on the surface, 10.9 from the air, 13.9 when firing in smoke. The stats, well, I actually am above 500 in this ship. My best game ever, 133,693 total damage. I have no idea if that's a recorded game or not. May have been deleted by accident. But this ship has a lot of weaknesses, you know. So let's talk about one of the big strong points. Look at that deep water citadel, very, very low below the waterline. However, when you look at the top armor, you can see it's greenish blue, so that means you don't have a lot of armor there. Putting this bow back on, 32mm bow, and a rather meaningless armor plate well below the waterline. All right, so that's not going to do a whole lot for you. Torpedo belt or protection farther down the keel, 32. And then you can see your belt ranges up to 260, again, below the waterline. Turrets and barbettes, maybe as a way to balance out the weight. The rear of the turrets are very heavily armored. I don't understand that. Other than that explanation I just gave you. Other than that, these turrets are not especially sloped at the face, and they're not heavily armored in my opinion. So I think that's a pretty deceiving armor profile. And I do not think these turrets are especially strong. All right, we're going to add the casemate armor back in here. You can see your armor belt goes up to 381 on the broadside of the ship. So again, not saying you can take a Vladivostok on the side and not be affected. I am saying that you do have some side armor that would allow you to get closer and not receive a ton of damage over time. Unless they're hitting you broadside. Don't give them your broadside. But anyway, that's that. Here's Charles Madden, Survivability Commander. He is fully maxed. We got Cunningham and D. Ravel as our inspirations. In base trait, increases the traverse speed and decreases the reload. Again, 20.5 seconds for our build. Row 1, not the one for nuisance survivability skill. We took it. Row 2, crisscross. Row 3, firefighter. Row 4, master mechanic. Legendary skill, fight fire with fire. Although I did think about running with scissors. I will try to get another game if I have a really good one with running with scissors active. You know, it wouldn't have made an effect in this one, I don't think, but it could make a difference. And so I'm going to select that for future matches in the ship. Anyway, that's our survivability build for the Monarch. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. I'll see you on the next video.